My name is Sakira. For 9 years, I believed I had a good marriage. I was wrong. This is not a story about hate. It is not a story about revenge. It is a story about the one question every woman asks, at least once in her life. Why do men cheat? I asked myself this question at 2 in the morning, standing in my own kitchen, holding a phone that was not mine. By the end of this story, I will not give you the answer. But I will show you something better. I will show you what happens after the question. Chapter 1. The phone on the counter. It started with something small. It always does. My husband, Marcus, left his phone on the kitchen counter. He never did that. Marcus was careful, almost too careful, with his phone. He kept it face down. He kept it locked. He kept it close. That night, it was face up. Unlocked. Glowing. I did not go looking for trouble. I want to be honest about that. I was making tea. I was tired. I had worked a 10-hour shift at the hospital, and all I wanted was to sit down. But a name appeared on the screen. A message. Then another. I am not proud of what I did next. I picked up the phone. The messages were not from a colleague. They were not from an old friend catching up. They were intimate. They were affectionate, in a way Marcus had not been with me in over a year. My hands began to shake. Not from anger, not yet. From something colder. A kind of quiet devastation, the sort that arrives before the mind has time to catch up with the heart. I put the phone down exactly where I found it. Then I sat on the kitchen floor and I did not cry. I simply breathed. Chapter 2. The Illusion. We build our lives on foundations we never think to test. I had built 9 years of trust on top of Marcus. Our home. Our routines. Our small rituals, coffee at 7, his hand on my back when he passed behind me in the hallway. I had never once questioned whether the foundation was solid. That night, I could not sleep. I lay beside him, listening to him breathe, and I felt like a stranger in my own bed. In the morning, he kissed my forehead before leaving for work, the way he always did. "Have a good day," he said. I smiled. "You too." The lie came easily. I surprised myself with how easily it came. I understood, in that moment, that discovering a betrayal does not happen once. It happens again and again, every time you choose silence over confrontation, every time you let the illusion continue for one more day. I chose one more day. Then another. Not because I was weak. Because I needed time to understand what I was actually dealing with. Chapter 3. The Woman Named Grace. Her name was Grace. I learned this from the messages over the following week. She worked at his office. Younger than me by 6 years. She wrote to him about small things, a meeting that ran late, a coffee she'd bought him, a joke from lunch. Ordinary things. That was what devastated me most. There was no great passion in these messages. No dramatic declaration of love. There was ease. The kind of ease Marcus and I used to have, before children, before mortgages, before the slow erosion that happens to every long marriage if you are not careful. He had not fallen into some overwhelming temptation. He had simply drifted toward comfort, toward someone who made him feel, for an hour a day, like the version of himself he missed. I did not hate Grace. I want to say that clearly. I felt something closer to recognition. She was not a villain in a story. She was a woman who did not know, or perhaps did not want to know, that the ease she felt was borrowed from a marriage that still, technically, existed. The person I needed to understand was not her. It was Marcus. And it was me. Chapter 4. The Confrontation That Wasn't. I had imagined this moment for 2 weeks. In my imagination, I threw the phone at him. I screamed. I demanded answers. When the moment actually came, none of that happened. I simply placed his phone on the table between us, open to the messages, and said, "I know." Marcus went pale. He opened his mouth, and I watched him search for an excuse. I could see the exact second he considered lying, and the exact second he realized lying was no longer possible. "Sakira, I can explain." "You don't need to explain," I said. "You need to decide." "Decide what?" "Whether you want this marriage," I said, "or whether you want the version of yourself that Grace makes you feel like." He said nothing. And his silence told me more than any explanation could have. I did not scream that night. I did not beg. I felt, strangely, very calm, the calm of someone who has already made a decision, even before she fully understands it herself. Chapter 5. What I learned about men, and about myself. I spent the following months speaking to friends, to a therapist, even, once, to my own mother, who had faced something similar 30 years earlier. I did not find one single answer to why men cheat. I found many small, human answers, none of them satisfying, all of them true in their own way. Some men cheat because they are running from a version of themselves they no longer like. Some men cheat because they never learned how to say, "I am unhappy," so instead they simply leave, quietly, one small betrayal at a time. Some men cheat because attention feels like proof that they still matter. None of these reasons excused Marcus. I want to be clear about that. Understanding is not forgiveness. But understanding gave me something I badly needed. It gave me back my dignity. Because the question I had been asking, why do men cheat, was, underneath it all, the wrong question. The right question was, what do I deserve, going forward? Chapter 6. The Quiet Rebuilding. I did not leave the marriage the way people expect in stories like this. There was no dramatic exit, no suitcase thrown down the stairs. Marcus ended things with grace. He asked for a second chance. And for 6 months, I genuinely did not know what I would choose. What I chose, in the end, surprised even me. I chose myself first. I went back to a certification I had abandoned years earlier, in nursing leadership, something I had once wanted badly before life became about someone else's needs. I studied in the evenings, at the same kitchen table where I had once sat frozen on the floor. I did not tell Marcus every detail of my progress. I did not need his praise to know my own worth. Slowly, so slowly I barely noticed it happening, I stopped feeling like a woman waiting for a man to prove he deserved her. I started feeling like a woman who had already decided her own value, with or without him. Chapter 7. The Answer I Never Gave. A year later, I passed my certification. I did not tell many people. I did not need an audience. Marcus was there when I got the letter. He hugged me, and he said the words I had waited 9 years to hear him mean fully. I am proud of you. I smiled. I did not need his pride to feel proud of myself. But I let myself accept it, the way you accept a gift you no longer require, but appreciate nonetheless. We are still married today. Not because I forgave him completely. Some things reshape a person permanently, and I am not who I was before that night in the kitchen. We are still married because we rebuilt something new, on a foundation we both, finally, chose to test and repair, rather than simply assume. If you are asking yourself the same question I once asked, why do men cheat? I will not give you a clean answer, because there isn't one. But I will tell you this: the woman who survives that question is never the same woman who asked it. She becomes someone quieter, someone steadier, someone who no longer needs anyone else's choices to determine her own worth. And that, in the end, mattered far more than any answer ever could have. Thank you for learning English with this story. See you in the next English listening practice. Please subscribe to watch more story on Learn All About English.